mentioned that because that kind of material evidence available at that time, that point of time. Now many things have been come forward. So very much, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Our next speaker is Balram Tripathi. He is working with us.
Onam sir thile Balram kardu tabar Onam sir what are
He is working in the Institute of Maritime and Southeastern Studies, and he had his PhD from Deccan College, and he is working with us since 2 decades. I request Dr. Balram Tripathi to present it.
all old fellows.
स्क्रीन शेयर गर्छ त
आपको जो अभी बोल रहा आपको जो बोल रहा है कुछ
Thank you very much, and good morning to everybody present over here. Thank you very much. I am thankful to the Revansa University and my friend Dr. Umakant Mishra for inviting me to speak something on maritime history of Odisha. I am also thankful to Dr. Sunil Kumar Patnaik, who is the main force behind all our research work conducted by the Odisha Institute of Maritime and Southeast Asian Studies. He has been relentlessly conducting explorations and excavations of several early historic and even proto-historic sites in Odisha, and he has initiated explorations along the eastern coast, and we have already completed almost 70% of our exploration work under his guidance. Actually, it is his dynamic guidance that the institute has been recognized as a research institute in eastern India. So, my topic, of course, I will not speak much because Professor Vinodhar Patra has already delineated everything, whatever I wanted to say, and I will just take 5 minutes to describe whatever I have prepared and I have done. My topic is fresh light on the maritime history of Odisha. As we know that Odisha has a very long coastline of almost 460 kilometers from Tamluk to Borua, and we have more than 40 ports. Most of them are of early period, like Palur, Manikpatna, and many other sites. But in medieval and colonial period, there are several port sites, particularly in northern part of Odisha, located in old Balasore town, like Dinavandinga, Parasidinga, and other sites. They have already been explored and excavated. And we are also regularly, conducting surveys and explorations along the coastline, because that is our main work actually of our institute under the guidance of Dr. Sunil Kumar Patnaik. And my topic is fresh light on the maritime history of Odisha. I will not take much of your time, only 5 to 10 minutes only I will take, and I will show some of my slides and PowerPoint presentations. So this is a political map of Odisha showing the eastern part of India, particularly the Bay of Bengal, and this is the topographic profile of Odisha, showing the major rivers, hills, and of course the coastline, because almost all the port sites, they were dependent on the hinterland. Hinterland in a sense, even for timber, for construction of ships and boats. They were dependent on central and western part of Odisha, where tropical or dense deciduous forest ranges are available. I have worked in the middle Mahanadi Valley on riverine trade. How people from Sambalpur to Paradip, they used to travel with having their goods, and a lot of exchange network was there. And that time currency exchange was not there. Even I traveled with them for several kilometers, and to understand how they conduct their trading pattern, what is their mode of the next is gemstone occurrence in Odisha. So Odisha is considered as a gem belt, particularly finding of kimberlite pipes in western part of Odisha. That shows the positive diamond deposit, and we have ruby, sapphire, aquamarine, even including some semi-precious stones like garnet, chrysoberyl, and other things, which are nowadays also people are finding in central part of Odisha, particularly in both Sonpur region in the Mahanadi Valley. Half of the river they have already dug out. Now there is no water, nothing. So entire river system has been gone. The next is, this is actually very much important. The Greek geographer Ptolemy, he referred to a port site known as Palur or Palaura, which are now we are conducting excavations under Dr. Sunil Kumar Patnaik, and 2 seasons we have already excavated, and the result is amazing. And some of the pottery, because there is not much structural remains, we are dependent on pottery remains, and the pottery actually, it is, I am surprised, I have seen almost all the pottery types of India and Southeast Asia, but this pottery from Palur is completely enigmatic, surprising, and I think they constitute a large part of global trading network, particularly the Greek wares, because the soil pattern and the texture of the soil, where by which the pottery is manufactured, is completely different. So Dr. Sunil Patnaik is also interested to invite some scholars, those who are proficient in identifying foreign wares, particularly of Roman wares and Greek, and of course Middle Eastern sites and other places. So we are trying for that, and this is a Roman clay bulle which has been found from Manikpatna excavations, and from Radhanagar. Radhanagar provided number of Roman clay bulles, and even Roman ware also we have found northern black polished ware, and other important pottery generally associated with seafaring activities and of urban nature of early historic period. The next is I am showing a boat flying in Chilka Lake. Let me tell you one thing, that the boats are now mechanized. They are not being driven by human beings, by prow or strain, or even the nangar or the anchor is also earlier they were using stone anchors with a hole, with a huge large stone anchors we have found also at several places in the coastal part of Odisha. But nowadays iron thing is there, and motor run boats are being there is no prow or strain, and even the mast system is totally gone. So our this maritime if we'll do some ethnographic survey on maritime heritage, we will be totally confused. They will not match with the ancient pattern of navigation system. and this is a boat particularly used for carrying some commodities from one island or to another island, because in Chilka Lagoon and in eastern part of India, particularly in the Bay of Bengal, there are small islands are located, and people used to communicate along with their goods and other material from one island to another island. So these are not seafaring boats, but they're huge and large size boats with having a roof for protection or to be safe from rainfall and other things. The next is another boat, and this is a ferry boat. Ferry boat is transporting people from one place to another place. Particularly in Chilka Lake, this type of boats are in use, and see, it is provided with a roof. You can see that protects you from rainfall and other things. The next is also another fishing boat, because boats are for cargo purpose, for transportation of human beings, and for fishing purpose. Three type of boats we use actually, and the next is also another seafaring. This is a seafaring boat, but nowadays these boats, they do not go for a long distance. They particularly go to small islands, wherever it is located in the Bay of Bengal, to carry their either exchange network or trade network, or for transportation of people from one island to another island. This is a jetty of seafaring vessels located in Chilka region. This is a boat with a roof, another one in Chilka. This is also a ferry boat with roof, Chilka Lake, and there are several boats, or sort of dockyard, you can say. It is located in Chilka area. A ferry boat in Sipakuda in Chilka, of course. This is a ferry boat. Ferry boat means transporting people from one island to another island, because Chilka is covered with several islands, so people used to migrate from one place to another place. This is a jetty for boarding of seafaring vessels at one place. There are stone and iron pillars are there to tie up the boat. And this is a riverine fishing boat, particularly in Mahanadi. And in Mahanadi, we have three types of boats: Patua fishing boat, Patua cargo boat, Osli boat, and fishing boats. Three types of boats. I have worked for my PhD dissertation also on riverine boats, and they fly from Sambalpur up to Paradip. Particularly nowadays, the entire river bed is completely dry. There is no water for transportation purpose, or for shipping purpose. That is why construction of ships and boats are also different completely. Now whatever is being run, it is already over, so no problem. So this is a fishing boat in Mahanadi. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. If you want to ask anything to me, you are welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Balram Tripadi. You presented very basic information, basic research about the boat and transportation. It is maybe a technical paper. Thank you very much for your presentation. Now I request Dr. Anam Mehra to present his paper. Dr. Anam Mehra is working in Utkal University, the Department of Ancient History, Culture and Archaeology. He is a known figure for you, for the research, and to you all.
शेयर कर ले 10 मिनट देखिए
ठीक है
आइए
Reverend and esteemed Chairman, Dr. Sunil Patnaik, respected delegate, seated before me, Ajay Naik sir. Before 2013, very few, even less than 1 dozen archaeological sites are there in this region. Even in 1991, it is only 2 sites of Charcolithic culture in entire coastal Odisha. That is Godabai in Khordha district and Gopalpur in Noyagad district. Presently, and this is the Charcolithic scenario of the Charcolithic culture of Odisha. My topic name is Archaeology of Daya Kusabudra Valley. Why it is Daya and Kusabudra Valley? Because it is Dauri and Jaugoda dominate the historiographic landscape in narrative of ancient history of Odisha and India as well. Since 1820 and 1830, after discovery and decipherment of Ashokan inscription and Ashokan Brahmi, in the trajectory of development of archaeological research in Odisha, what is the contribution of this region and its recent development? Excavation of Sisupalgarh, the Bibilal in 1948, just after independence, carry forward the initiative started from Arikamedu near Pondicherry, Ramagiri in Karnataka to establish cultural sequence and chronology, having fixed date for local pottery with corroboration of Greek stamped pottery known as terrasiglia. Excavation of Jaugarh by Devala Mitra some extent broadened the existing idea of history. In 1991, excavation of Godabai by V.K. Sinha, the type site of Odisha, Odishan archaeology or Chalcolithic culture of Odisha lie in this region. Again, the excavation of Talpoda, Lathi by Professor Ravi Manti and Professor Monica Smith open up new direction of the archaeological study in Odisha. How it is possible the existence of the early historic settlement in this region like Sisupalgarh, Talpoda, Jaugarh, Lathi, again Kankeri in Jajpur and Durga Devi, later on Durga Devi, Baleshwar. Last two was excavated by Dr. Sunil Patnaik. Are all these early historic foresight possibly without any early beginning? Answering this question started from the excavation at Harirajpur near Jatni in 1913. The beginning of my talk, during 1913, there are very less number of sites located in this region. Now, this is the scenario because of excavation at Harirajpur. This site was also explored by us. The site was excavated by K.K. Basa and Professor Ravi Manti, Deccan College, Pune. A series of Chalcolithic sites, more than 100, are discovered by us across the state, mostly from coastal Andhra Pradesh, the border region from Bauda River in south to Gulagodanga River in the north. The Chalcolithic site Duro Haro Tota and Duro Haro Bada on the bank of Bauda River in the Ganjam district and Durga Devi Ranasai in the Baleshwar. And that discovery extends the horizon of the early historic fort site in form of Durga Devi up to Ranasai Baleswar, that also include Kankei and Radhanagar. Again, the picture is very clear how and why Lathi in Barampur, Jaugad in Ganjam, Talpada near Nirakarpur, Sisupalgarh in Bhubaneswar, Kankei, Radhanagar in Jajpur and Durga Devi in Baleswar emerged as urban center, probably because of the development of proto-historic Chalcolithic settlement in this region. The starting point of the narrative of the early history culture that is restricted with the two Asokan inscriptions found at Dhauli and Jaugada relating to Kalinga War. Durga Devi and Ranasai in Baleswar can be seen as glaring example how Chalcolithic settlements grow into a fortified early historic urban center with a rampant moat in early historic period. Sunil Patnaik sir recently conducted excavation at Durga Devi and he found out the cultural sequences starting from later Neolithic period, Chalcolithic period, Iron Age, early historic period. Nowhere in Odisha such cultural sequence embedded or found in a single site. This is a recent development in study of Odishan archaeology. Then come the question of cross-cultural interaction across the state Odisha with Bengal, Bangladesh, Myanmar in one side as postulated by Kaushik Gandopadhyay and Rajat Sanyal, Calcutta University. On the basis of Chalcolithic site, Kaushik Gandopadhyay study in the border region of Bengal and Odisha, and on the basis of epigraphy studied by Rajat Sanyal. In other side, cross-cultural interaction of Odisha with Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu as postulated by D. Dayalan from Archaeological Survey of India. All these cross-cultural interaction based on the material evidence belong to historic period. But what is the possible cultural interaction in this region before the early historic period, that is prehistory or proto-historic period? It is obvious because the geostrategic location of Odisha in the center of these states in east coast of India, it serves as a bridge between culture of North India and South India, which is well studied for historic period. Now it is time to explore this possibility during prehistoric and protohistoric period. As it is did by Kaushik Gandopadhyay, doing research, Gangopadhyay, during research on Chalcolithic site in bordering region of Odisha and West Bengal. Same kind of thing also visualized by Santanu Vaidya, Deccan College, Pune, while doing his research on Kankekuda, he found material remain from these there more resemblance or akin to the South Indian Chalcolithic culture. To establish that possibility, it need to excavate Chalcolithic site Durahara Tota and Durahara Bada on the Bahuda River on border of Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. For dating the Chalcolithic pottery in South India, the scholar had to concentrate with Roman pottery, but application of sophisticated technology in field of archaeological research make it possible easy. Even it is possible in our state. The paper presented by Porantha Pradhan and the iron analysis found from Radhanagar, which was excavated by Sunil sir. On the basis of that, he gave a date, scientific date, that Radhanagar belonged to 4th century BC. That means all the
That is not from
Acha, C 1400. That indicates all these contemporary early historic fortified sites are belong to during that period, 3rd century or 4th century BCE before Ashoka. Why Ashoka invaded Kalinga is a well-known fact to all of us. We all know that what are the causes and consequences of the Kalinga War, which make North Indian religion became world religion, that is Buddhism. Buddha, a teacher, became light of Asia. In this background, one should have tried to understand what is the background of the Kalinga before Ashoka and Kalinga War. What happened after the Kalinga War? Ashokan inscription at Dauli on the bank of Daya and Jaugada on the bank of Rusikulya used as a starting point of अच्छा Ashokan inscription that date to 3rd century BC and then Hatipumpa inscription dated to 1st century BC. Our recent exploration we found 3 evidences of Brahmi inscription which was deciphered by T.S. Ravi Shankar, Mysore Epigraphic Branch Archaeological Survey of India, and he give date 2nd century BC, 2nd century AD. That means Brahmi was in use from time of Ashoka to 2nd century BC, 2nd century AD as per evidence. The another aspect, Buddhism and its rise and decline on the Daya Valley, found in form of hero stone and Ligo Puja. Very recently, our exploration we found these evidence from Bhatteswara temple at mouth of the river Rusipilla. This hero stone and Linga Puja found more than 50 places across the Daya Valley where Kalinga War, possibly Kalinga War occurred. As per presentation of the N.J. Sindhu, how the animosity of Buddhism being clearly reflected and corroborated with the different Buddhist texts. And that can be seen, this a continuation of the animosity between two religions, Shaivite and Buddhist, lead to decline of Buddhism and a rise of Shaivism, and Bhubaneswar become a Shaiva Khetra. Probably that also widely discussed by K.C. Panigrahi in his book Archaeological Remains at Bhubaneswar. Regarding trade and commerce, these are the sites found across the my study region. These are the interaction of the route of interaction of the Chalcolithic people from main land, main bank of the Mahanadi, right side, that is river Daya, up to Godabai Sasana. And that is the concentration of the Chalcolithic site on river Daya in upper part. In center, it is river Visupilla, and in below, it is Bahuda river. All these development occur behind the Sisupalgarh in upper part near Bhubaneswar, and its center, that is Talakoda. And at the mouth of river Rusikulya, it is background, that is Jaugada. In last, Barampur, that is Lathi. Why and how all these early urban center, fortified urban center emerged during the period of 3rd century BC, probably why Ashoka invaded Kalinga, besides many other causes. Very recently, Sunil Patnaik sir discovered fort, a Buddhist site near Pallur, with having lots of maritime indication. These are the site, the interaction of the main bank of the river Mahanadi to the river Daya, and these are the site near Pallur, mouth of the Rusikulya, where Jaugada is located. That can be used as the possible indicator why the urban center are developed in Rusipilla River Valley. These are the same thing. The interesting thing is here the Talapoda. Left side it is Talapoda, right side just at the bank of the river it is Gorabai, the type site of Odisha, Odishan Chalcolithic. On the basis of these picture, one can guess probably these people of Chalcolithic culture subsequently contribute for growth of the urban center, which is very closely located. It is on the basis of imagination that should be proved on the basis of archaeological material. हाँ सर गोटे मिनिट मु आउ बेसी किसी कहूनी जस्ट लास्ट को ए जो आमे पॉइंट गुडाक देखुथिले सी चालकोलिथिक साइट गुडाक फटो रे एमिति सेठी पिला माने हमर एक्सप्लोरेशन करछन आपण देख पारबे द डायमेंशन ह्यूज डायमेंशन ऑफ चालकोलिथिक साइट फ्रॉम ए फ्यू डिस्टेंस दैट क्रिएट ए situation like a mountain or hill, small hill. These are the Chalcolithic site. And this is one of the Chalcolithic site recently used for developmental work, pani tank, water tank in a village. एटा बेसी हम कहबानी एटा भी कहबानी जो हम कहउतिली हीरो स्टोन लिंग पूजा सहित बुद्धिज्म रो डिक्लाइन कोन गोटिए प्लेस रे चारटा जगह पाइछि एटा हला डाण पटे हीरो स्टोन बाम पटे हला लिंग पूजा एटा बुद्धिस्ट भोटिक स्तूप लिंग पूजा सेठी एटा गोटे प्लेस रे रंगरु मार्क करंतु बाम पट्टा हला बुद्ध इमेज गोटे प्लेस रे डाण पट्टा हला भोटिक स्तूप लिंग पूजा हीरो स्टोन सेम साइड ए गुला पांच सातटा इंडिकेशन मते मिलिछि एमजे सिंधु जो बैकग्राउंड रो पहिले लिटरेचर बैकग्राउंड रे द एनिमोसिटी बिटवीन शैविज्म एंड वेस्टर्न बुद्धिज्म फ्रॉम वेरी स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट आपण जदि जातक स्टोरी प्रथम जातक स्टोरीटा पढिबे से जातक स्टोरीटा भी ट्रेडर मानक आरंभ होइछि एनिमोसिटी रो इंडिकेशन भी ता पछरा अछि दैट प्रोबेबली द आर्कियोलॉजिकल ट्रेट in material evidence indicate decline of Buddhism where the Buddhism spread from outside the world. I got the last kotha. This is what a minute. This is nowhere. Nowhere indicate the contact between Southeast Asian country and this part of the world. It entire coastal state reveal all these pottery. Grover mentioned one important things. All these knobs were found in the archaeological site of Southeast Asian country in the context of Buddhist religion and mostly mortuary practice in Buddhism. तेणु ए दुईटाकर सामान जिनस आम ये पाँच देख इमेज ऑफ बुद्ध एंड नॉट फाउंड इन ए single archaeological site that indicate the quotation of Grover how the mortuary practice relating to Buddhism and Navdware very much popular in Southeast Asian countries Java, Sumatra. आमे जो देश रे बाली यात्रा पालन करते these are the archaeological indication. आउ कोन कोन कहि थाते समय बेसी नाही. Very recently सुनील सर जो एरिया रो एक्सकर्शन करछन्ती से एरिया रो हमें बुद्धिस्ट रिमेन पाइछ तेनो थैंक यू उमा सर हमको टाकले एवं सुजोग देला आपण मन आगे कहया को तेनो ताकर रेभेन्सा यूनिवर्सिटी रो समस्त टीम को धन्यवाद
Thank you, Dr. Anambera. He has taken us to visit almost all the Chalcolithic sites and coming down again to the early historical sites, to the downfall of the Buddha, 10th, 11th century, with the hero stones. It's a very fantastic his idea and his paper. One thing is very clear here. Now, as he said, Chalcolithic till like 2013 it is very rare, but now it is very clear. The date of Chalcolithic is around middle of it is around 1400 BC, 1350 or 1400 BC. Almost all the Chalmati sites of Odisha. That is one benchmark. Dr. Uma has written recently a book, and he has mentioned very elaborately and discussed very elaborately about the the phases of Chalcolithic, Neolithic, as well as the early historical phase. That is one of the most interesting now phases we are getting. Chalcolithic, Neolithic, Chalcolithic, the date like is that, and the Iron Age is coming 900, 800 BC. Even I dated radiocarbon date I made for Durga Devi. Chalcolithic is 1350 and Iron Age 800 BC. Same thing happened in for early strict phase in Radhanagar around 400 BC. So now things are becoming clear. We should not be go beyond that thing because now we're getting all the radiocarbon dates. So thank you very much, Dr. Anam Behra. Now I request uh, Jitu Misra, Dr. Jitu Misra, please have come and present your paper. Jitu Misra is a freelancer. He has earlier he has worked almost all the early street sites of Odisha. You will find his papers.
Also public access.
Yeah. You will find in the Arunachal his papers on Manipatna, Radhanagar, and Pallur, and many more sites. But now he is working as a freelancer, and he will deliver his lecture on public archaeology because he is working in that field. Thank you, Dr. Jitu.
अच्छा एक भगवान ये क्लियर वोटर कर सकते फोन ऑडियो मैंने वीडियो अच्छा अच्छा ठीक सर वीडियो एंड आउटपुट हाँ फोन लगे तो
लगे
हाँ देखो पर ऊपर है आज हाँ सही हाँ हेला এটা দেখে উঠেছিল হ্যাঁ
এটি ভিডিও এটি এটা তো মানে এটা সোশ্যাল মিডিয়া আছে তো
হ্যাঁ সোশ্যাল মিডিয়া মানে
फेसबुक इंस्टाग्राम पर से
हाँ
और ओडिशा टूरिज्म रो ये जाओ ना पेज को जाओ से देखा छी
ଯିବା ତମେ କହିଲେ ଯିବା ସର୍ଚ୍ଚ କର
ओडिशा टूरिज्म रो फेसबुक पेज को इंस्टाग्राम पेज जोटा भी जा इंस्टाग्राम এটা হচ্ছে
ଟିକେ ରହିଥା ଏଇଟାକୁ ପୁଣି ତମ ଫୋନ୍ ନମ୍ବର କରି ତମ
କି ଦରକାର କ୍ୟାନ୍ସଲ କରିଦେ
କ୍ୟାନସଲ୍ କ'ଣ କରିଦିଅ ନହେଲେ ଖୋଲିବନି ନା
ଖୋଲିବ
କୋଉଠି ଖୋଲିବ ତମେ
ଖୋଲିବ
କୋଉଟା
ଚାଲ ମୁଁ କହୁଛି ମତେ
ନୁହଁ
ହଁ ଠିକ ଅଛି
ରହିଥା ସେ କରନ୍ତୁ ଠିକ ଅଛି
yes
ମାର ଏଟାକୁ ଇଏ କର ହଁ
start করব
ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କର
Okay, thank you. Uh, Very good afternoon. I think it's 12 past. No? Thank you so much, Uma. And it is my privilege to present you about a new concept called public archaeology in the context of Odisha. Uh, So what you saw, a small clipping, which is what we do, thanks to Odisha Tourism. That is what we have been doing for last 2 years in the city of Bhubaneswar. And once it is well established, we'll try to extend it to some other cities which have got in the state of Odisha. So, and you might have seen that there's a lot of glamour, a lot of things which we have added here. When you are going through a heritage trail in Bhubaneswar, it is, it remains a very dry subject for most of the people unless you add more values, make it more glamorous. So we have added like the dance, which is performed, the Odissi dance, which is performed at the studio of Dr. Ilyana Chitrasti, who is a very well-known Odissi dancer, Padma Shri. She's from Italy. Her studio and her house is located on the bank of Bindusagar, which is the cultural heart center of Bhubaneswar. And then we, after the work is over, and then they have a breakfast. Most of our travelers, walkers, those who are heritage enthusiasts, they immerse themselves in a local heritage home where they release local breakfast, and then the trail ends. And that is held on every Sunday from the month of October till February or maybe March. So this is what we do. And besides these 2 days, besides this on Sunday, we do it also on Friday and Saturday. So what you have seen, so there's a lot of glamour you might have seen, but to reach to this stage, it has taken so many years. And today also, I would say that it has been very, very difficult task for us, because to tell about heritage, to tell about history, to tell about monuments, or both tangible as well as intangible heritage, to people in large, they have got hardly any interest. I'm not talking about the people, about those who are sitting here, but if you go to the even city like Bhubaneswar, when you go and talk to people, they have hardly got any interest. Forget about the youngsters. We haven't got any youngsters registered for heritage walks from Bhubaneswar yet. We have got students from Bangalore, we have got students from Ranchi, from Delhi, but not yet from Bhubaneswar. So it has been a very difficult task. So when we talk about public archaeology, this is a part of public archaeology, which sounds glamorous, and lot of buzz is also created through social media these days. And but when it comes to implement them and convince people that this is what we are doing, you must respect your heritage and culture, it is very difficult. The attention span is very, very limited, and it has to be very engaging. So let's not lose the hope and try our best how to make make Odisha as a happening place in public archaeology. So my name is Jitu Mishra. I am a student of archaeology. I studied in Technical College in 1990s. Then I, shifted to education, school education, where I was working in Ahmedabad in a company called Education Initiatives, where I was responsible for setting up heritage clubs in different schools in the city of Ahmedabad. And also I was responsible for training how do you make social studies more engaging, more effective. I was imparting training program for school teachers across the country, including some of the best schools in Delhi and Bangalore and also in Ahmedabad. So that was what I did. But it was again very difficult when we would take them, to heritage sites. Many of the students, 8th, 9th standard students, they would come and ask that why it is important to study heritage. It's all old buildings. Then you have to tell stories, you have to excite them, that how it helps you building of your identity, your how do you position yourself in the world, and then you have to come with a lot of anecdotes, stories, and also various kinds of games like treasure hunting and all kind of things. Then only out of 10, 3 or 4 students would find it interesting. So it is a very difficult thing. So when coming to Odisha, I came here in 2018 after living in Ahmedabad for about 15 years, and then also in Pune where I studied. I felt that when you want to do public archaeology, because archaeology as such is a very very exciting subject, and I just want to give a little experience what I had when I was studying in Pune, and then I went to Delhi to search for a job in early 2000. Then I was telling a lot of people to whom I met. Some of them became my friends, some of them were strangers. I told them about Neolithic sites of Udayar, in Karnataka, that how the ash mound and then the rock arts and all sort of stuff. And there was so much of excitement. And then we also set up a heritage clubs in the Bluewell School in Delhi. And when we took children to Kurukshetra, which was being excavated, and they were so excited. Then I felt that if there is so much of excitement among students and also strangers, why not archaeology is becoming a popular subject? Then I realized that you have to bring down story elements of archaeology to common people, because if you say the dry facts, they will not probably find it interesting or engaging. So then I started working, how to make archaeology more interesting. So I wrote a book which is a fiction, which is based on Indus Valley civilizations, called Adi. This has also become quite popular. It was also Amazon's best-selling book, Adi, and also in Harappa.com it was well appreciated, which is actually a journey of a small child called Adi to the city of Mohenjo-daro from the site of Mosaro, and how he becomes a coppersmith. So that is what is the story. That is what I try to speak to students, school students, in the form of a fiction, and to excite them about Indus Valley civilizations. Now coming to Odisha. So Odisha, like when I came here, so when you ask a person working in IT sector, highly educated, I had a discussion with him, and then I asked him, which is Lingaraj temple. He said the Ram temple, Ram Mandir in, in the Janpat, Sriya Square, is the Lingaraj temple. And that is what is the level of awareness. When we are doing a lot of discussions, engagements, so this is what is the level of awareness. And then we do this heritage works in Dholi. Then there were a group of cyclists, and they are also from the progressive families, maybe of 25, 30 years old. When I showed them the Dholi Shanti Stupa and asked them about its history, they said that it was built by Ashoka, which was actually built in 1970. So this is the level of awareness. And as I said, that when we talk about heritage works, it has been becoming very difficult to convince people. We are going to school and colleges and asking them to join, please participate in the heritage works. But there is not much of, and most of our participants are from outside Bhubaneswar, either from Bangalore or from Delhi or from Mumbai, Pune, but very few are there. So it is very, very difficult. And Odisha, because we haven't created an ecosystem, we have just confined to the academic forums when we talk about archaeology. So Sisupalgarh, for example, like ask anyone in Bhubaneswar, nobody would know about Sisupalgarh. Forget only historians and archaeologists, they would know about Sisupalgarh, or those media people, they know about Sisupalgarh because they have to write about Sisupalgarh. But in our eyes, Sisupalgarh today is almost vanished. Everywhere you have encroachment houses. But Not a single school in Bhubaneswar has taken ever their students to Sisupalgarh to show that how it was a mighty city in 3rd century BC. Even it was rivaling the city of Athens, which was the capital of Greece. So this is, I think we need to do a lot of efforts, setting of heritage clubs, conducting heritage walks, telling stories about our past, and also different types of games, different types of activities we have to design so that the excitement level increases. More video shows, more Instagram reels. The Instagram reels, a lot of people are making, but they do not have serious content. So we have to bring in serious content in a fun way. So then only it becomes more exciting, and the youngsters will be able to engage. As long as we are not able to engage the youngsters, I don't think so. We'll be able to spread our, the wealth of archaeological heritage we have in Odisha to the common mass. So this is what is my realizations. So I keep writing books and also encourage others to write books in popular ways so that people can read and also understand the heritage of Odisha or the culture of Odisha and visit those places. And then you just take them to a heritage site like let's say Haripur Goda in Mayurbhanj, but that would not excite them. You have to bring in a lot of other elements like food, local music, local dance, then trekking, hiking, all sort of things have to be integrated. And then a lot of activities have to be designed. Then only it becomes interesting. So likewise, in different states, Odisha is full of such monuments. Hardly people know about Rani Purcharya, which is an incredible, yogini site. People know about Hirapur Yogini temple because this is close to Bhubaneswar, but hardly people know about that. Our rock art sites, they are concentrated in Himgiri forest in Sundargarh and Jharsuguda districts, and also in the Vedakul zones region of central Odisha. And these sites, like of course, there is a danger if you take them, if you not take the right kind of people there, then these sites will be destroyed because many of them are the mindless tourists. But those who are serious and have got interest, understanding about rock art and also the evolution, the cultural evolutions in Odisha, the prehistoric Odisha. So those things. So that is another aspects which we can design tourism and take people, create small videos, Instagram reels, then small books, so that more and more ideas have to be generated, and that will excite people to visit those places. So that is also with the Buddhist sites. Even Lalit Ratnagiri, Udayagiri are such incredible Buddhist sites, but they are just confined to serious academicians and those who are very much interested in tourism, in Buddhist heritage, like the foreign tourists. But Indian tourists hardly go there. So these are the things which we have to think of. And Odisha has a very, very, is a vibrant region when we talk about archaeotourism or public archaeology. And we have to bring in these ideas and make it more interesting so that we will be able to create an ecosystem in Odisha where everybody, is excited about heritage, about archaeology, about cultural tourism, and then we will be able to go to the second level and showcase Odisha's way to the rest of India. So this is what I have to tell. Thank you. Okay. See, I'm though I studied archaeology, but right now I'm part of a company which I have co-founded called Sarana Education and Cultural Services, which is a company based in Bhubaneswar, and which work in the area of immersive cultural tourism and also craft. So I'm also as an individual, we are working, of course, with Odisha Tourism on Odisha Works. Besides that, I'm also associated with the Odisha State Museum, where I'm helping designing the prehistory gallery, the textile gallery. So we are trying to bring in also a lot of stakeholders together so that there is an ecosystem and where we will be able to showcase Odisha's history, Odisha's culture to the world at the large. So this is what we do at Sarana Education Cultural Services. Thank you.
Thank you, Jitu. I know him very well. He is taking archaeology to the public from classroom to the public streets. Actually, he is doing a marvelous work, popularizing archaeology and it's applied archaeology, I can say, and involving a lot of public people, public tourists and visitors altogether. But there is a little problem. I will little suggestion for you because I have worked in tourism department for 30 years. We have granted golden diamond triangle. When you say Buddhist site, nobody comes up. Only religious site. When you say the civilized, it has importance for civilization. Then there is interest around. I have experimented because I conducted 3 4 international conferences on that Buddhist conclaves. So that is the branding. We are looking in branding. You are working in the field now. I associated with Kathak heritage work. I started Bhubaneswar heritage work with Mukeshwar and all that, 2010 and 11 onwards. So I know it's a branding problem. Even some Pune, Bangalore Heritage City Network, they have come here to work with us. Yeah, about they wanted to start a heritage work on around Sispalgarh, but they failed. But whatever it may be, you have started work and you have already gone far beyond. That is a good sign for state, for the students and the state. It is really an opportunity for all the budding scholars, budding archaeology professionals. Very good work. Thank you. Thanks once again. Next speaker of this session is Professor Veena Masri. She is from Deccan College. She is there. Madam,
Yes, yes, I'm there, sir.
Professor
I'm ready.
Veena.
Hello.
Yes. Yeah, please present the paper.
Okay, okay, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just sharing my screen with you. Are you able to see the slides? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Veena,
Uma? Hello, Uma?
am I audible?
Yeah, yeah,
Veena?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You are audible. Are you able to see my slides?
এইটার আমি সবাই ফোন করছি
Hello? Hello?
অনমিউট করো অনমিউট
Oh, able to see, hear and see the PPT.
না না we can see you ppt also we can see but your voice is not audible. Unmute yourself.
Unmute. I am unmute. I have. Just give me a second. I will relog. Okay.
हाँ ठीक है
Okay. Hello. Am I audible now? Hello. 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 Audible. Hello. Just Audible now? Okay, there seems to be now video problem. Just let us see. Okay. Okay. 1 minute, 1 minute. Give me 1 second.
Hello. Hemantuleka Samrat. Wait for a while. Wait for a while.
Okay. The audio there. Video.
Hello, Bina. Come again.
Hello, Uma.
सुनाई दिया.
Okay, just tell me whether my presentation is just I will try.
Share your presentation.
Yeah. Are you able to see?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. And is it my slides are getting changed?
No, not changing.
Not in.
It's the same problem what happened with that Medha. I don't know. Okay.
So
Now
how many?
now
हुआ.
okay. Fine. So I will start because that screen thing is not working. So
हाँ.
let me just do that. Okay.
Yes.
So okay. Huh. So good afternoon everyone. I'm sorry, it is I think so the last presentation, and everybody must be waiting for going for lunch. So,
Penultimate presentation.
okay. So my presentation is based on the human skeletal studies which are done in Eastern India, not entire Eastern India, but only Odisha and West Bengal. So let me start first acknowledging everyone, like Dr. Umakant Mishra, who is my friend actually, and he invited for this conference. Thank you, Dr. Uma. I would like to thank the entire department, Ancient History Department, Revensa University, Dr. Professor Basa from Utkal University, Pradeep Behera from Sambalpur University, R.K. Mohanty from my parent institute, then Upendra Chattopadhyay. So these are the people who actually, Sheena Panja or Walimbe sir, and all the members of excavations of Harirajpur, Deltihuda, Dihar and Balupur, all of them. So they are the people who actually invited for me to study the material which was excavated from their excavations. So when we discuss about the human skeletal remains, these are the sites from where human skeletal remains are being recorded. Some of them are, I have got the information from Indian Archaeological Review, which is published by ASI, and which are been studied by me. Like for example, from West Bengal, there are like Dihar, Bardupur. These are the two sites which I have studied, and then there are in Orissa, Deulga Hills, Harirajpur, and Deltiura. These three sites, material from these three sites, I have studied. So I will just give you some brief account of every site and what are the findings of those sites. So when we talk about the first, when I studied in 2003, we have published one paper on Deulga Hills, which was excavated in 1999 and 2000 by P.K. Behera, Professor P.K. Behera. From Sambalpur University. According to the excavator, this sites belongs to late Mesolithic phase. And the skeletal remains comprises of various parts of the body of a single individual. And they were not properly laid down individual according to the excavator. They were like a kind of a disturbed burial, or secondary burial, what we call it, because there is no anatomical orientation or order of that. And it is a female, most likely, because we do not have any sexually diagnostic parts preserved for this individual, and belonging to 25-30 year probably old individual. If the most important finding from Deulga Hills is this: the height of this individual. It is a, even though if it is a female, it is 136.45 centimeters, and even though if it is, and if we consider as if it is a male, then it can go up to 141 centimeters. So it is, they are very, that this individual is quite short individual. If you compare with the rest of the Mesolithic population, they belonging to 170 for males, 175 to 80, and for females it is coming from 150 to 155 centimeter. That is the average for the Mesolithic population when we compare them with Sarayana, Rahi, Mahadaha, Damdama. These are the Mesolithic population. But even the late Mesolithic population also has an average, but they are quite, this one is particularly, this individual is quite short-heighted. Secondly, the important finding what we identified was this kind of a foramina on the vertebral body. It can be related to congenital anomaly as well. And even this is also very interesting, two vertebrae which are joined together. Again, it is related to congenital or the deformity by birth. So that is a congenital problem. And if you can see, they are very tiny individuals, tiny bones. But if you see the maxilla and the mandible, their maxilla and mandible is not that tiny as compared to the long bones. Coming to the next individual is Harirajpur, which was recently excavated by Utkal University and Deccan College collaboration. Professor K. Basa and Professor K. Mohanty was the main lead, and Shantanu Vaidya and other, they were doing the excavation. 2012 and 13 and 13 and 14, two consecutive years the site was excavated. The site belongs to a Neolithic Chalcolithic period, and in the first season in 2012 and 13, two skeletons were excavated. Actually, one is this male, and another is, there is a pot in that time. They were not aware that there was a skeleton inside that, but later on, while looking at into inside the pot, we found bones of a child. And on the second season, what we found is one female individual. And according to the excavator, this is a cluster of three individuals actually. The next year, they found the pit line, but not in the earlier excavation. So they are quite close to each other. But here you can just see, because they are 1 year apart of the excavation. So it is very difficult to visualize them into single pit, but it is a single pit. And the preservation of these skeletons are in the satisfactory. Actually, they are in a good condition, although they are a little bit of damage because of the excavation, not excavation, because of the preservation or the soil pressure and other thing. Especially the face portion is actually damaged. And the one is a male, and another is this is a female individual, and this was a child which is 6 to 7 months old child. One thing I want to tell you here, it's interesting, is the male individual. I suspect that the feet has been chopped. Consideringly the burial practices of Neolithic, Chalcolithic population of Deccan, we find like there are some incidences of chopping of the feet. So similarly, in this particular individual, we have found these kind of a chopping marks. They are not, the feet bones are not preserved in the collection, and as you can see in the burial, it is not disturbed here. You see that it is the lying on the anatomical position. So if we consider that, and there is no damage to the skeleton in the lower portion, this is a quite interesting finding, where clear cut evidence is present for the chopping of the feet, because this is a tibia, the shin bone, what we see. Then this is again in the same male individual. What we identified is the fracture, very well healed fracture of forearm. Basically, the radius ulna from left side had a fracture. The bone was broken in the middle of the bone actually, and then it was healed. As it was healed, not very in a proper condition. This is the X-ray of that. Those bones, radius and ulna. So you can see there is a kind of a oblique fracture here. Interestingly, we did not had any morphological changes on the both the sides of the lower joint, or the distal joint is not preserved, but the proximal joint, where it joins with the humerus, do not have any modification seen in the head portion. So probably it did not resulted into the major problem, but it reduced the length of the forearm for the left side in comparison to the right side. And you can see it is a completely healed fracture. It's the process has been done, so it has been, and maybe there was no medical intervention, like when you have a fracture or something, you put a plate and then you tie it, what we see today in today's context. Not the similar way what we find in the earlier this kind of a fracture. Then you are having the antemortem tooth loss, then dental crowding, other things in the same person's jaw. The next individual was, as I told you, was a child which is 6 months old, 6 to 7 months old child. So this is the mandible of that child, and this is a long bone. These are radius and ulna, and this is humerus of the child. So what you see here is there is a slight porosity seen on the, it is not very clear on this particular photo, but there is a slight porosity on the bones, which says that this child probably had some kind of a nutritional deficiency, probably had, and that is why it led to its death. And this is the jaw and the face of that female, and this is a jaw of that female. You can see there is a caries infection. When we talk about agro pastoral communities, so there is a the the infection because of the carbohydrate diets and because of the sugar intake in some or the other form, not in today's context, but some kind of that kind of a form resulted into the caries infection. So you find a drastic increase in the caries infection rate in the this agriculture population, which is like in this case both adult individual had caries infection in their particular teeth. So in this, there are two teeth which are infected in the maxilla uh, uh, into caries infection. There is slight arthritic growth in the second cervical vertebra of this individual, which shows there is a kind of a some kind of a what you can say, the load bearing might have happened to the of the head and the neck region, where a lot of probably some load was being carried by this female during her lifetime, might have resulted into some kind of a bone modification, or what we say in that is a lipping from the for the vertebral column. Then coming to the next skeletal collection or the skeletons from Ravenshaw University in 2014 and 15, Dr. Uma excavated the in Delti Huda. He invited me for to study this skeleton. So they had wonderfully excavated the skeleton, and we kind of saw. So unfortunately in a way, because within the bog we found this mid portion of the skeletons, and they carefully excavated it, and this was a pot which was there. We had, I think so, we are not still open that pot. Probably it looks like a urn burial, we don't know, we have to do that in future probably. But what you see here again, there is a caries infection in the tooth, and this is a mandible where you are having the antemortem tooth loss. This is an old individual, slightly 35 around. This is a maxillary teeth from for that individual. And what you might have seen in their department, he created the kind of a box. Inside that we tried to put the skeleton as we have found, but it is extremely difficult when you are having when you remove the bones out of the context. It is extremely difficult to them into same position or same condition. But we tried, but just to kind of recreate, but it's not to the best. But you can, if you are still there, you can see, or you might have just seen that individual coming. So these are the three sites from Orissa which are being studied. And then there is a Dihar. It is from West Bengal, where Professor Rupendra Chattopadhyay excavated this particular individual, which is most, according to him, it's an early historic period. The individual was in the sitting posture, and because of the pressure and because of the decomposition process, the skull actually fell down kind of in its lap, and then kind of you can have this distorted sitting posture. And was excavated in 2012 and 13, and it has almost complete skeletal material, and this is a male around 45 to 50-year old. So here also this is before I clean the skull, and this is after cleaning. You can see the face there, a bit of face, and then this is a mandible of this individual, and you can see severe attrition on this individual, and that is why we are considering this as a around older age bracket for this individual. The particular individual is, if you see the radius left and right, so left radius has a lot of modification, maybe twisting. So this probably had something to do with the twisting of the arm or something like that. You can see the muscle impression, like muscle pulling impression on the radial tuberosity, near radial tuberosity. We don't have much evidence, this kind of evidence from the neighboring bone ulna. So we don't know what exactly led to this kind of a twisting and of the arm. This is one interesting thing I found in the dihar. And then the tarsal, which is the ankle bone, has a little modification on the articular facet, so probably related to some kind of a occupational stress markers as well. So this one, this is only from one individual we could identify so many things. This was done in 2006 and 8. Dr. Sheena Panja, she was working there at that time in Shantiniketan University. She excavated the medieval cemetery, around 17th century medieval cemetery, and she excavated at that time 14 individuals. Out of that, 5 were sub-adult category children, and interestingly 5 sub-adult, 4 are aged below 3 years, so quite young individuals we can find from this particular site. There are 5 males and 3 females represent in the collection, and one, the sex determination was not possible, and most of them were, like as I said, that in adults, and only 5 were the sub-adult individual out of that. There are series of pathology. I'm not going to talk about detail about each pathology, because then it will have complete Balupur presentation. But I just give you some kind of evidences, like there is a fracture, heel fracture on the radius. There is a arthritic lesions we have found many of the vertebral column of this all those individuals. Some of the occupational stress markers on the clavicle. Then some trauma also we found, and then there is a like in the mandible also we have found the arthritic lesions, where the jaw articulates, lower jaw articulates with the skull. And then they are having the antemortem tooth loss, enamel hypoplasia on the child's canine, and there is a neoplastic bone growth on the tibia. So these are the findings, some of the findings, not all findings, but some of the findings from the skeletal collection from Balupur. So these, other than these are the few sites which I came to know about where the skeletons are being excavated. So Hariraipur from West Bengal, which was excavated in 1964-65. According to A. Ghosh, they belongs to a Chalcolithic population, and they have found 10 extended burials of children. Very interesting. We do not know where are these bones are kept. We know whether, we also don't know whether they are still existed or present um, for the study. Then there is so not much information has been preserved here. Then there is few sites like Laljal is from district Midnapur, or Damdam Mount, or Rajbadi Danga site from, and in Odisha, Golbai Shasan, I think so. Dr. Uma can correct me. Had one skeleton, but we don't know what happened to that skeleton, or I have not been. I don't know about it. I'm sorry, but so these are the sites which tells you about the skeleton. Very few skeleton. So coming to the points about what I want to present here is, in Orissa there are 3 sites give skeleton remains, other than I don't know about the Golbai Shasan. We are related to Neolithic, Chalcolithic. Late Mesolithic means obviously it is contemporary with the Neolithic, Chalcolithic population. The preservation material is not so good overall if you see the Eastern India. For West Bengal, belonging to early historic and 17th century skeletal, not much skeletal evidence coming from Eastern India actually, unfortunately, which is very difficult to say anything specific for this population from this particular region. I want to put this as a point. If anybody is interested into, or I want to request Professor P.K. Behra that if he can extend some more excavation and exploration from the site Deulga Hills, because it's a very interesting site. It's a cave from where he has got that skeleton, and which is very different from others. Like it's a very tiny specimen in comparison with the Mesolithic population. So if you can, or anyone from Orissa can take up and find some more material or more skeletons to compare with, will be very what it will give good results actually. So I request anybody is interested can go for it. And thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Bina Mr. Tripathi. Actually, it is really a very technical and very typological paper, and that is required for us for almost all the archaeologists. After meeting you at Chennai, when you said me, just called me for an excavation. Actually, I sought for a skeleton when at that time I was excavating Durga Devi, but unfortunately I didn't get anything. But I have the mind to invite you to show some of the bones that we have collected from Panur as well as Radhanagar. I will invite you for the study of the different sites, and we are having that kind of stone, different variety of stone, and also you are in keeping your works, and you are looking at some skeletal remains. Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next paper is by Dr. Khalid. Next paper, not last paper. Our next paper is by Dr. Kaivalya. Let us see afterwards who so much it may be. Kaivalya is working as a lecturer in Nilakar College in Department of History and Archaeology. He is basically from Department of Ancient History, Culture and Archaeology, Department of Utkal University. Dr. Kaivalya. Hello.
So which one? Let's see. So this will be the next one. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide is this one. Arrow keys.
Respected Chairperson, Dr. Sundar Kumar Patnaik sir, and of the dais, Uma sir, Anam sir, Balaram sir, and other dignitaries, and my dear student friends. My topic is History in Disguise, Place Name and a Historical Fact in Ancient Bhubaneswar. Particularly when we look back to the Bhubaneswar, yeah. On the third demo coordination.
So full screen also. So next is the
So when we look back to history of Bhubaneswar, the capital city of modern province of Odisha, is a city with a rich cultural history and innumerable heritage, and particularly there are several landmarks dotted the landscape of Bhubaneswar, the buried and partially excavated ruins of Shishupal fort and Ashokan inscription, and the footpath elephant image at Dholi, the Jaina caves, and the Hathigumpa inscription of Kargil and Udayagiri, and there is other historical monuments. The city is also a center of religious significance as a Shaivite Kshetra and pilgrim center. So prior to its Shaivite affiliation, Bhubaneswar was also a center of Buddhism and Jainism as evident from the existing relics and monuments. Since 1948, Bhubaneswar has also served as a capital of modern province of Odisha on the eastern coast of India. Bhubaneswar is thus a heritage city marching towards modernity, taking due cognizance of its ancient monument. The present essay is an endeavor to survey the Buddhist monument of yearly face scattered around Bhubaneswar. Actually, I have two things I deal with this paper. The first thing I try to uh, give a survey report on Buddhist monument of yearly faith scattered in and around Bhubaneswar. And the second thing that the tradition, if you go to the tradition of narrative history relating to the ancient Bhubaneswar, it is well presented by Dr. K.C. Paningrai in his book Archaeological Remains at Bhubaneswar, in which he used the sources like Sthala Mahatmya of Bhubaneswar, Ekamapuram, and Ekamra Chandrika, and there he tried to extract the well-known, the historical fact described as a story and compare this with archaeological remains and place names. That is well-known fact that how linked the place, Jagamara and Jagasara with religious activities of the ancient Bhubaneswar. Taking clue from this, I have tried to study the place name and related religious history in and around Bhubaneswar. That is the second thing which I deal in this research paper. Then furthermore, if you go ahead, Buddheshwar temple in Bhubaneswar near Station Bazaar, Buddhipada near Balakati, Buddhanath temple at Buddhapada near Harirajpur, Balakati itself, it has a legendary relating to history associated with Dholi. And this paper is a humble attempt to carry forward the work started by K.C. Paningrai, which is confined to the Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar in terms of actually legend. And the present work is stretched beyond the city of the Bhubaneswar. I'm putting an example, place name Balakati, as per the elders people of locality, they are saying that it is something represent a animosity between the religion in which Buddhist followers are transferred by their opponent. It is purely a legendary story, but K.C. Panigai also narrates some fact of religious animosity which describe the place name Jagasara and Jagamara in Bhubaneswar, relating to the different place of Bhubaneswar, has different narrative stories told by the priest, by the temples. But some believes that the place name Bindusagar probably linked with the father of Ashok's name of the Ashoka Zara, where bell capital of Ashok pillars were found. Again, it remains the history of Buddhism and the region of Ashok in the reign of Ashok in the city of ancient Bhubaneswar. There are new remains of the Buddhist votive stupa came to limelight in the Arthakapaleswara temple, 4 kilometers east to the Shishupalgarh. There are three votive stupas are recovered from agricultural fields during the time of agricultural activities. Now it was found in the Arthakapaleswara temple compound. Similarly, evidence also came to limelight in form of image of Buddha at Nuvasasana. Many other Buddhist remains are coming to the limelight in the periphery of Bhubaneswar, through though small and fragmentary, its contribution are significant for making new history in the history of Bhubaneswar. Similar kind of approach was also adopted by the K.C. Panigai. So I am exploring the expand that idea in peripheral of Bhubaneswar as any development in a given place, and the time cannot be isolated. And after that, in this research paper, I explain detailedly explain the stupa and cave about regarding Dhauli, and the prototype of Lumbini inscription from Kapileshwara, the debate, and the Ashokan pillars at Bhubaneswar, and the Naganagi and the Yakshaki image. These are the things completely I deals within this research proposal. This is, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kaivalya. He is a young scholar and is now working for his project on Bhubaneswar. And his paper really is an interesting paper. It's relating to history of Bhubaneswar. Thank you for your presentation.
Sir, pronoun koi remark देवेंगे.
Dear friends, this session is, there are 8 papers presented by very eminent scholar in this session. The first paper is Dr. Elora Trivedi. She presented very nicely and narrated and given a pictographic and given a good picture on Tara iconography and its relation with Terrain, geomorphology, and how sites developed and how Tara image evolved and its relation. In comparison with some of the images of Bihar also. I know her during her research period. She is a very serious scholar, and it was really another eye-opening on Tara part because we had number of Tara images in Ratnagiri and other sites. Really, it is a very nice paper. When it comes up in the proceedings, we will discuss more on that aspect. Thank you, Dr. Elora. I hope you will present in future seminar also too in Odisha context. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Then Dr. Sindhu, he also presented the narratives about the Maestro and relation to the Bajrayan and Tantric images of various images of Bajrayana and Achala, then Chunda, and all these things. Actually, that is again an iconography study, including tradition. And see, these are the one of the studies is less known to us. Some of the basic iconographic features we know from Donaldson's work or Dolamitha's work, but these are the very serious work that you, the young students and scholars, those who want to take up the study and for your PhD or further study, you can choose one of the these topics. There are a number of images. One image will be a voluminous study, and that is unending, and you can trace the connectivity to the history. It is all visible. And the next paper is on. Thanks, Dr. Sindhu. I know your PhD and the technical things. You are always narrative and is an enlightened one. Thanks again. The third paper is Dr. Pendra Patra. He has given an overview of maritime heritage of Odisha, taking from literary sources, including archaeological sources, and right from the beginning, from Neolithic to the 18th century, the whole maritime history he has narrated. Actually, that's a very painstaking work, but he has presented. Thanks, Dr. Patra, once again. Then the next paper is on Dr. Anam Behra. He presented his paper on Chapulithic, the early history, and giving us a glimpses of the village development, rural development, and again urban development. That is a partial view on Daya and in between Daya, Kusabatra, and Dishkut. Thanks, Dr. Anamira. Balram Tripathi has presented his new light and fresh light on maritime history. Again, he has presented a technical paper on boards and has enlightened us with Mahanadi Valley exploration and how maritime work was there in Mahanadi Valley. It's first-hand work. Thanks, Dr. Balram. And the next paper is on by Jitu Misra on public archaeology. It is really a new aspect of archaeology because it is applied archaeology. Because one can develop his interest and to make his career on that. Not only in academic but in public field. That is a very good beginning in Odisha, and they have started his group. They have started this work. It's a very welcome light on the field of archaeology. There are the interest both public as well as students. Thanks a lot, Dr. Jitu. Then Biram Murshid Tripathi has presented her findings on skeletal remains of both the Odisha and West Bengal sites, Bang, Harajpur, and Keoda, and some of the sites of West Bengal. It is more or less a technical paper, but it is a very very necessary to understand the demography, understand the people of this coastal area or this eastern India. Her work always inspiring, her work is always enlightening to the scholars, and it is very scientific once again. She always enlightened us, she always ready to take up the work for us. Many thanks, Dr. Nabina, and
Thank you, sir.
many thanks. And our scholar Kaivalya is the young scholar. He has presented his paper on Bhubaneswar, the names and how Bhubaneswar developed and what is finding related to Buddhism and Saivism. More or less, all the papers are very good and very inspiring. On behalf of Research Congress and my personal behalf, I extend my wholehearted thanks to all the scholars, those who presented and also patiently listened, patiently paid attention to the papers once again. Thank you. Thanks once again to Dr. Uma and to Research Congress. Thank you.
With this, we come to the end of this 3 days national conference. I'll be failing in my duty if I also don't express my gratitude to Sunil sir, who has been generous enough to grant 2 lakh rupees from Odisha Institute of Maritime Studies and Southeast Asian Studies, and he has been a pillar of support and inspiration. The kind of work he has undertaken over the last 2 decades has led to several strides and advancement in archaeological researches of Odisha. I'm indebted to you as a scholar, as also as a collaborator of this conference. Now, in the midst of us, we have a very distinguished scholar, an economist par excellence, Dean of CESP, Center for Economic Policies and Studies, CESP, JNU, Jawaharlal Nehru University, Professor Pradipta Chaudhary, who has done a pioneering work on Odisha, colonial caste system, colonial economy, especially agrarian economy. He has been listening to all the paper presentations over the last 3 days. I request her to come out dais and give this frame of certification to Sunil sir. Photo for please take.
Yeah.
I would like to speak. With this, we come to the end of the year. I request all the panelists, participants, speakers, there won't be any valedictory after the lunch. This is the end of it, but we will be connected with through our WhatsApp group and will be knocking at your door to give you a paper. I'll share the style sheet and other things so that a felicitation volume in the name of felicitation volume for Professor Kishore Vasa also comes out of this conference and its presentation. Thank you so much to all of you. Now we should break for lunch.